Hey everyone, how's it going? The Kanto gym leaders, specifically those in red and blue, they're not very good. I have done some truly insane challenges in these games, and never once has it been a gym leader that has stopped my progress. But you gotta wonder, is that because the gym leaders' teams are that bad? Or is it because the AI that they use is so terrible? Well, with the help of Blue Zangoose from the Pokemon Reverse Engineering team, I decided to find out by turning myself into each of the 8 gym leaders, complete with a custom overworld sprite and battle sprite. But that's not the only thing Blue Zangoose did. When I go to select my Pokemon, I'm not going to get Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle. I'm going to get the exact same team that the gym leader has. Experience points, those have been disabled. TMs, we're not going to use them. I'm going to try to see how far I can get into the game with each of the 8 gym leaders. Are they able to defeat their AI counterparts? And more importantly, can any of the gym leaders with these underleveled teams actually beat Pokemon Red and Blue? Let's find out together. First up is the first gym leader, Brock. Brock only has 2 Pokemon, a level 12 Geodude and a level 14 Onix. They don't have any ground moves, they don't have any rock moves. They're really bad. Good thing the first major battle we have is against, well, Brock. One thing I should make clear is that I don't have to act like an AI trainer, meaning I can use the Pokemon in whatever order I like, and I'm not going to do things like only use super effective moves or nonsense like that. The whole point is that if I were controlling the gym leaders, would they be able to win? And certainly I would be leading with Onix, going for Screech, and then Tackle, and then actually against Onix, once we're done with all the Screeches, Geodude actually has better attack. So we're going to use that, and we're going to defeat Brock. So that's one major battle off our checklist that we're going to be using throughout this video to track our progress. I wonder how many more Brock can defeat. Not many, I presume, but maybe we'll be able to get past Rival 2. Perhaps if I was able to build the team myself, we would have more success. And speaking of team building, I do love team building games, and I've recently been playing Marvel Strike Force, who are the sponsor of today's video. Now, Marvel Strike Force is free, and if you click my link in the description or scan the QR code, you can get it on your smart device right now. Marvel Strike Force is a squad RPG where you can have superheroes or supervillains or both combined to complete various tasks, challenges. There are some really cool game modes. There is the campaign, which you can try and save the universe from threats like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse. But there's also a lot of other really cool modes, including some player versus player mode like Alliance War and the Arena. So in the game, you can recruit both heroes and villains from across the Marvel Universe. There's some really cool ones. I have already been able to recruit recognizable heroes like Deadpool, Spider-Man, the Hulk, and even learn about some new heroes like Cosmo the Space Dog. And speaking of characters that I recognize, you can get Venom in December for free by using the promo code VENOMFREE. Venom is an amazing early game character who will jumpstart your progress in various game modes. He also pairs really well alongside other characters like Carnage, so you're definitely going to want to use this promo code. Now, if all this sounds exciting and you want to try out Marvel Strike Force for free, like I said in the beginning, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code in the top left to get Marvel Strike Force on your device for free. So what I'm hoping is that if we use Screech on Pidgeotto, even though we're under-leveled, the fact we're rock Pokemon might end up helping us knock out the Pidgeotto, we can swap away any sand attacks, and then maybe we can knock out the entire team. Unfortunately, that's a little bit easier said than done when Rival 2 has a Squirtle. And yes, I will always give the Rival the best starter to defeat me, which is Squirtle. Now, my apologies that this is going to be going so fast. You're probably not going to be able to see what's going on. But rest assured, we were losing again and again and again and again. And it was at this point I had to answer a really important question about what it means to progress versus stop. Because with the perfect luck, and it's important to note that in Generation 1, there is always a 1 in 256 chance that a move misses when it's not supposed to, so if you get enough of those in a row, even a team like this could probably beat the entire game. But that's really silly and based on a bug. I'm not really interested in the 1 in 20 octodecillion chance that we can beat the game with every Gen 1 miss. I'm interested to see if this could reasonably happen. So the unofficial and very rough guidelines is 10 losses in a row. Or to be more clear, 10 losses in a row where there are no new strategies available to me. We definitely exceeded that for Rival 2, despite the fact we got very close sometimes. But it really doesn't matter all that much, because the next major battle, Misty, this is what happens when a level 14 Onyx and a level 12 Geodude battle her. Note that Misty has good AI, she is always going to go for a water move, so while Brock's team was capable of beating himself, he wasn't actually able to beat any other major trainers. Probably that's going to be the worst result, I hope. Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to beat Rival 2, but let's set that personal best by beating Misty. Misty's Pokemon have a severe flaw where they have to go for Tackle, even though, despite the fact they're not very effective, her water moves would be better. This is just one of the many ways we're going to be able to take these gym leaders' teams to new levels. One thing I do want to mention in this fight because it's relevant is that going for Harden would have been helpful. However, if we look at Misty's team, you'll notice her Starmie doesn't actually have Harden. This is a good time to talk about how movesets, including gym leader movesets, are programmed in Pokemon Red and Blue. They're very, very simple. Every Pokemon will have up to the last 4 moves they learned via level up. In Starmie's case, that should be Tackle, Water Gun, and Harden. In fact, those are the only moves a Starmie could learn. So why doesn't Misty's Starmie have Harden? I'll answer this question a little bit later. For now, we have to go battle Rival 2. He was really difficult for Brock, but Misty's Pokemon are at far higher levels, and I mean, Starmie with Bubble Beam is really, really good. Against Bulbasaur, it has a little bit of problems, but all that really translated into was 17 HP lost. So Misty is still doing fairly well here. Rival 3 is where we might need to be a little bit more concerned now that Bulbasaur is going to evolve. It's also during the Rival 3 battle where we're no longer really over-leveled. Pidgeotto is level 19 versus 21, Raticate's level 16, and they're already doing significant damage. We only had 24 health by the time we fought Ivysaur, but we can send in Staryu to tank a few hits, switch it back. You'll notice that unlike Misty, I do have a Paris. I'll talk about that in a second. For now, it looks like we're going to lose our first battle, unless we get a clutch crit, in which case we are going to win on our first try. But as for that Paris, this is still Pokemon Red and Blue. We still are going to need Pokemon for HM purposes, but we're just not going to use them in battle whatsoever. And speaking of things we're not going to use in battle whatsoever, this is a good time to answer the question why Misty's Starmie doesn't have Harden but mine does. It's because the way Gym Leader's Pokemon works is that their ace, their final Pokemon, the third move, not the fourth move, the third move in their move slot, is replaced with the move they give out via TM, in Misty's case, Bubble Beam. This mod is already insane, and that was just too hard to implement, and it doesn't really matter. This is only going to affect a couple of gym leaders, and just like I always have Pokemon in my party I don't use because, really, ideally they wouldn't be there, I don't need to use Harden, and I'm going to pretend as if it isn't there. Now, speaking of things I pretend aren't there, Lieutenant Surge actually could be genuinely difficult. We are, in fact, going to be under-leveled, but against Voltorb, which doesn't actually have an electric move, it just goes for Screech, and we knock it out with 2 Bubble Beams. Pikachu, we get a crit, we knock it out with 1 Bubble Beam. We don't get a crit versus Raichu, it goes for Thunderbolt, and yeah. Pretty sure that's going to be how this battle's going to go. And I don't really have alternate strategies. It's not like there's a lot of diversity in Misty's Pokemons or movesets. I'll try this a few more times just to see if I can get lucky, but like, let's be realistic. As bad as Surge is, he has the perfect team for Misty. In Battle 2, Pikachu actually paralyzes us, which is very frustrating, and Raichu goes for Thunderbolt again. Since we know that Staryu is kinda useless, which sucks, I wish I had 2 useful Pokemon. Anytime Starmie faints, I basically have to give up. Battle 3 goes even worse. We get paralyzed. Oh, God. All right, just a few more of these. I think this is now Battle 4. Lowers Voltorb speed. All right, it's good to get through. Pikachu, that crit kind of sucks, but maybe we'll get lucky. Thundershock. All right, maybe. Could have used an X speed there. Maybe Staryu can mop up. Actually. Oh, that was pretty close. All right. Well, I think I'm going to try one more time. I don't think this is going to happen, but Misty has established a new record for gym leaders. Yeah, Voltorb with Sonic Boom. I mean, let's be real. We only have 40 HP. We need all 60. X speed is good, though. Thundershock. Ooh, nice crit. I can't believe it. We got the lowered speed from Bubble Beam. Oh my God. Wow, that wasn't even 10 battles. Surge is so bad, man. That's going to be bad in like 5 seconds when I have to use his team, but can't believe that just happened. And you want to know who took longer than 10 battles? This last, the one with 2 Oddishes and 2 Bellsprouts, because Starmie really doesn't have much it can do. I mean, it can go for Tackle, which does less than Bubble Beam, but Bubble Beam is resisted, and then it can poison you. It can go for Absorb. It's just an absolute nightmare. I actually was pretty certain the run would end right here and now. But eventually, and through some brute forcing of it, I was able to beat Oddish in a few Bubble Beams and get the Poison Powder to miss once and then knock it out on the turn it hit with the second one. The big thing is getting crits. I mean, of course, crits are good generally, but also Bellsprout can use Growth, and it basically counters that completely. And while I wasn't able to knock out the final Bellsprout with my Starmie, I did still have Staryu, Misty's final Pokemon. Of course, I also have Paris for HM purposes. That's just unavoidable unless we modded the game even more. But while it was close, Staryu did get the win, and we're going to make it just a little bit further. But how much further? We're starting to become really underleveled. Shockingly, we make it through Rock Tunnel, and I try to battle Rival 4. Usually this is a very easy battle, but it's not going to be so easy with Staryu and Starmie. I need to swap into Staryu once my accuracy gets dropped, but then Gyarados comes out, and I just have nothing. Look how little Tackle does, and then, I mean, Bubble Beam's not going to do that much more anyway. This is after 2 badge boosts and crits. This just isn't going to happen. So we're probably done the run fairly soon, but I might be able to get one more major battle off the checklist. Giovanni, number 1, with his Onix, we'll use, well, that's a Gen 1 miss, and then Rock Throw misses, and then Bubble Beam on Rhyhorn. I need to make sure I have enough for Kangaskhan, which goes for Rage, and we get a crit right away, and we're able to knock it out in 3 hits. That is the last battle I think we're going to win in this run, at least the last major battle. I did attempt Erika earlier, kind of as just a let's see, but we lost fairly quickly. And after a few more losses to Rival 4, I declared this as far as Misty could go. Hey, but that's not bad. Misty is the second gym leader, and we were able to get 3 gym badges plus Giovanni. Nothing to be ashamed of there, but now it's time to play as Lieutenant Surge. I always make fun of him when I get to fight him, but what's it like to actually be Lieutenant Surge? Well, Surge has 3 Pokemon, his level 21 Voltorb, level 18 Pikachu, and level 24 Raichu. Now, for our purposes against Brock, that level 21 Voltorb is going to come in a ton of handy because it has Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom deals 20 damage, and that will either one-shot or two-shot most of the early game enemies. So Brock was completely a joke, even for an electric-type gym leader. And as you'd expect, by using Raichu, we can just go Thunderbolt on Staryu and Thunderbolt on Starmie and easily beat Misty as well. For Rival 2, it's going to be a Raichu lead again. I go for Thundershock. This is to conserve power points. Thunderbolt on Abra, Thundershock on Rattata, and then didn't even need a second one for Bulbasaur. Rival 2 wasn't so bad, although that makes sense considering to this point Surge is kind of over-leveled. And this is about to become a recurring theme, where we're going to be using Pokemon way too good for the early game, but by the late game, we're either going to have to use some really insane strategies, or we're just not going to be able to progress once we're very under-leveled. Even for Rival 3, I would say we're a little bit over-leveled, but not terribly at this point. We out-level Pidgeotto by 5, although we're obviously going to one-shot it. Raticate by 8. Kadabra by 6, which is no longer one-shot by Thunderbolt. And it takes 3 to knock out Ivysaur, but still, so far, so good. Now it's time for the mirror match. You'd expect that me controlling Surge's team should beat Surge. We know Voltorb has 50 health, so I go Sonic Boom, I try for Tackle, then Sonic Boom. Sadly, it's not enough to knock out the Voltorb, and because we're at such low health, Pikachu is able to knock us out. So I just go into Raichu, and then I first go for Thundershock, then Thunderbolt, which does knock out Pikachu, and now it's just Raichu versus me. We have Thunderbolt, it has Thunderbolt, Growl is useless, and we didn't even need to go to our Pikachu in order to win. That actually didn't go as well as I thought it might, but I'm not surprised we won. Now, you might think the last that we talked about last time might also be annoying for Lieutenant Surge. However, Sonic Boom once again becomes very, very useful, and while Voltorb was not able to knock out all of the lastest Pokemon, it did a good enough job that Raichu was able to finish up, and we got by fairly quickly. Speaking of Sonic Boom being useful, the Hiker with 2 Geodudes and a Graveler, it sucks, and it even knocked out my Voltorb right away. But we can just go Growl and try to make it so that even Pikachu might be able to withstand Self-Destruct. Instead, I go to Raichu, anticipating its Self-Destruct is imminent, but once it doesn't happen, I go back into Pikachu, and we do weaken it enough that Pikachu tanks the Self-Destruct. And now all we need is for the Graveler to do it. It eventually will, and although it knocks out Pikachu, we still got by. Having said that, to this point, while Surge certainly has had a bit of an easier time than Misty, he has yet to make it further than Misty. I mean, he hasn't even made it as far as Misty. The big question, will the third gym leader be able to surpass the second? Well, I'd like to get to Giovanni, but to do that, we need to beat this Rocket. This Rocket has both a Sandshrew and a Sandslash. It takes 3 Sonic Booms for Voltorb just to knock out the Sandshrew. Then I can go to Raichu and Thunderbolt Ekans. But it's at this point we're kind of in trouble, because Sandslash, I can't hit it since it's a ground Pokemon with electric moves, and Voltorb doesn't typically have enough to knock it out. My rule was that if I lost 10 consecutive times to a trainer, I would have to conclude it's probably not reasonably possible, and this was the closest battle I would get. I think it was like my 12th attempt. And you can see I get oh so close to knocking out the Sandslash, and yet I'm not able to do it. Raichu not having a normal move is brutal. Now, in retrospect, I probably should have sacrificed Raichu and kept Pikachu in for that reason, but none of this will matter if we can't beat any of the other trainers. And I had a pretty sneaking suspicion we were going to have trouble with all of them. Rival 4, Misty had a horrible time. At least for Surge, Pidgeotto is easy, and then Gyarados is pretty easy. Growlithe is pretty easy. Actually, we might be able to get past this one, which won't matter because we don't have the Sylph Scope. In fact, yes, it seems like Rival 4 is much, much easier. So, in a weird way, it feels like Surge made it further, but honestly, it's kind of a tie right now. We could break that tie if we can beat Erika, but as you had probably anticipated, that didn't happen. We are, at this point, extremely underleveled, and while I battled many times over, and I was actually able to get to Vileplume once, which was really cool, I was never able to deal significant damage to it, and thus, by the rules I laid out, in terms of not retrying battles a billion times, because in Red and Blue, if you do that, eventually you are going to win. like literally like a trillion, a quadrillion battles, you'll get enough Gen 1 misses to probably be able to win. So this is within the realm of reason. And within the realm of reason, I could not get past that rocket to Giovanni, and I could not get past Erika. So technically, there is a tie between Misty and Surge. Yikes. Now, again, I do think maybe I could have gotten past Giovanni if I reset for another 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes. I didn't really want to do that, and I don't think there was any way to get past Erika. And even if I did, I'm just far too underleveled to make any progress beyond that point. So this is about as far as Surge can reasonably go. And so now it's time for Surge to pass the baton to Erika. Now, like Surge, Erika also only has 3 Pokemon, and also like Surge, we don't get a lot of type diversity in our moves. We get Petal Dance, Mega Drain, Razor Leaf, Wrap, Constrict, and Bind. So just normal and grass. We do get Sleep Powder, which is very useful, and we get a pretty significant level bump. I do think we will definitely make it further with Erika, but I wonder, because I do think the second half of the game, the levels spike quite a bit. I do wonder just how far we can take this. All right, first up, the easy battles. Brock, we just use Victory Bell, Razor Leaf, easy peasy. For Misty, we're just going to use Razor Leaf, and as long as we don't miss, because I can't assume. Actually, we get outsped by Starmie. That's interesting. So we got tackled there, but still, easy. Now against Rival 2, I went for Razor Leaf because it's our most powerful move. But as many of you know, but some of you don't, increased critical hit moves in Gen 1 work very differently because critical hits are based on speed. To figure out a Pokemon's critical hit ratio, you take their base speed and divide it by 256. Meaning a Pokemon with 100 base speed is going to get a critical hit about 40% of the time, which is great. But it's even better when your Pokemon has above 64 base speed, because when using a move like, as we battle Rival 2 now, Razor Leaf, we crit almost 100% of the time. There's a 1 in 256 chance we don't. But yeah, because of that, Victory Bell is incredibly overpowered when we're over-leveled. I do want to preserve some power points just so I don't have to heal as much. Not that this is a speed run. I don't even have a timer going. But yeah, very, very easy battle here. Even Rival 3 was really easy. Still, Razor Leaf is the best option we have and just takes 2 hits. It can miss 5% of the time, so that is the one downside to using it. But it is effectively a 110 base power move that can't be, well, not that there's anything using growth or anything, but you can't raise your stats to counter it. So just super, super great. For now. Now at this point, no one should be losing to Lieutenant Surge. I mean, even Misty was able to beat him. And we still haven't gotten to a single battle where Victory Bell has needed to come out. We have yet to see Tangela or Vileplume. My fear is when we do have to start seeing them, it'll be when I start losing altogether. But it's pretty funny how far we've made it with just one Pokemon. Albeit, yes, a very powerful and very over-leveled one. Honestly, I'd gotten so sick of seeing it, I actually used Tangela for the last battle. Eventually, actually, Tangela started to annoy me, so I swapped into Victory Bell, but yeah, I finally used something else. Erika is just zooming through the game, and Geo1 is not going to be difficult. We are going to score our second victory of the challenge, this time with Erika, and this time using just one Pokemon. We can set a new PB, and I figured the best trainer to do that against was the mirror match. Erika v. Erika. Now, fun little fact here. Erika, because we are grass type, Victory Bell, her Victory Bell, has to go for Poison Powder. Meaning, I'm just going to put it to sleep and then wrap it just to kind of save some time. But I don't really need to do that at all. I actually don't know why I even bothered. I thought it would save text. It didn't. We know Tangela's moveset sucks, but Critical Hit Razor Leaf still takes 4 hits to knock it out. And again, not sure why I'm putting Vileplume to sleep. It does not have Acid. I know this because I have a Vileplume. And what could have maybe been an interesting-ish battle ends up being completely trivialized because of weird AI quirks. But now it's time to see if we can finally make it past Celadon. Erika's a pretty good candidate to do that. We have to face Rival 4. I try to put Pidgeotto to sleep. I fail the first time, succeed the second time, then he wakes up right away. And then I succeed a third time. I try to go for Wrap and miss and then just go 2 Razor Leafs. That was pretty good. And then Execute has to go for Hypnosis when it can because of weird AI nonsense. But once I'm asleep, it can start going for Barrage. Thankfully, at 25 health, I wake up, I knock it out, and then I try to put Gyarados to sleep, but I fail twice. Then I go into Vileplume. I'm going to try to put it to sleep. That works. And then I'm going to try Mega Drain. I don't want to be locked into Petal Dance here because Charmeleon's going to be pretty annoying. First, we have Kadabra. Thankfully, it teleports, but once again, Sleep Powder is not helping me out. Thankfully, with Mega Drain, we can restore almost all our HP, and then I try to put Charmeleon to sleep. It burns me, and I miss sleep twice. Finally, I put it to sleep, and now I gotta go for Petal Dance. I just gotta knock this thing out. I hit once, twice, but it wakes up, and now it's all up to Tangela. I gotta go for Bind, and we get 4 hits, and then Ember, and then we get a miss. Are you kidding me? After another battle where I got just truly abysmal luck, in my third battle, I finally win. And not only do I win, once again, we win with just Victory Bell. So, that's great. But that means we're going to make it to the second half of the game for the very, very first time, which is really, really exciting. Although, realistically, Erika is the 4th gym leader. So if we think about it just in terms of gym leaders, Erika still is doing about as you would expect. And I'm controlling her, and I think I'm decent at the game. Can I, like I did with Misty, get her to punch a little bit above her weight class and start to beat major battles in the second half of the game? Let's see. The problem is, as I battle Koga, the 5th gym leader, I am now remarkably underleveled. Unfortunately for me, Koga's AI is not the good AI, so he's not just going to go for useless poison moves. Thankfully, Sleep Powder is still overpowered, and 4 critical hits do knock out the Coughing. Muck does go for Sludge right away, and it's going to take 8 crits to knock it out. Wrap kind of defeats the purpose of using Sleep Powder, but I don't even know what to do. We are remarkably underleveled, as I said. But as Muck stays asleep, we nearly knock it out. Maybe it does. Wait, does Koga have good AI? Did I not know this? Yeah, this is good AI. I didn't know that. All right, well, Sludge knocks me out. And, oh wait, they all have Sludge, so I guess good AI is not even a good thing. This isn't surprising, though. I mean, I should probably lose. But if I get enough Sleep Powder luck, maybe I can make some decent progress. Unfortunately, the Coughing's not going for Smokescreen or something useless is really something I didn't anticipate. I actually had no idea Koga had good AI. I guess I just don't battle Koga with grass Pokemon that often. Weird. It feels like something I would know. I thought I was aware of all the trainers that did and didn't, but it's very clear Koga has good AI. In my 5th battle, I actually make some pretty incredible progress. I knock out Coughing at full HP, and Muck can go for Poison Gas. Thankfully, it does that a bunch of times versus Victory Bell, but then gets a really annoying Sludge after some X attacks. But then I start getting some good luck, and I'm able to knock out Muck on just 5 HP. I then don't put Coughing to sleep right away, but decide, all right, let's try it. And I made it to Wheezing with Victory Bell, but it woke up right away. Now, I still have options here. I have Vileplume, I can put Wheezing to sleep, and I can try to gain HP back, but it's so slow. Wheezing has really bad moves, so in theory, I can just try to gain more health than it's taking away, but in practice, I probably need to put it to sleep, and I didn't do it there. But in the very, very next attempt, we start getting some great sleep luck, and we make it all the way to Wheezing with Victory Bell and full HP. And like I said a little bit earlier, I felt like if we see other Pokemon, it's because we're going to lose the battle entirely. Well, we don't see any other Pokemon, and Erika has beaten 5 gym leaders despite the fact she is merely the 4th gym leader. I doubt I'm going to beat Sabrina, the psychic type gym leader, or Blaine, the fire type gym leader, but already I am very impressed how well she has done. And because I've beaten Koga, I actually have more options and can show off more battles that I will likely lose horribly. First up on what possibly could be a sequence of very bad losing battles, Rival Fivel. Pidgeot outlevels me by 8, and putting it to sleep is necessary, but that's how much Rap did. And I will go for Razor Leaf, but it's not doing all that much more. I can even try Vileplume with Mega Drain and Petal Dance, and I actually get some pretty good momentum putting it to sleep and using Mega Drain to restore HP because Wing Attack is so weak. And in fact, I do make it past Pidgeot, but then what? Like, I don't have anything really for Execute or Charmeleon. I'd need to make it with all 3, and despite my best efforts and many, many resets, I never even made it past Execute. Because I can't beat Rival Fivel, that means I can't battle Giovanni 3, who I don't think I could beat either. I can battle Blaine, but as you'd expect, this is no longer within the realm of possibility. I can actually beat Growlithe because Growlithe is forced to go for agility, but at that point, the battle is just over. I can't get past Ponyta whatsoever. And so, while Erika was able to beat a trainer with far higher level Pokemon, she wasn't able to make it as far as I would like. And as we enter the back half of the gym leaders, it's starting to become apparent that even with my supreme Gen 1 knowledge, unless I really brute force it and go for crazy luck, it doesn't seem like gym leaders are even going to be able to make it to the Pokemon League, let alone become champion. But as we saw, there is a huge level bump when you get to Koga, and that's going to be pretty useful for us now that we are playing as him. Now, we get Pokemon up to level 43, and although I've never been able to solo the champion with a Pokemon at that level, even Mewtwo, with 4 Pokemon, it could be interesting, especially when we have an ace in the hole, Self-Destruct. Yes, our moves aren't great. Sludge isn't very good, but we do have Smoke Screen and Minimize and Poison Gas and Toxic. If we want to play this, if you've ever played Pokemon Stadium 1 and remember how awful Koga is, heck, he's just like that in Pokemon Stadium 2. If we want to play that way, maybe we can start to make some real moves. Well, with a level 43 Pokemon, we're going to beat Brock. You might also notice I changed the color scheme. As we win, just look how awesome that looks, kind of the gold and purple. I mean, the Pokemon looked great in battle, but like, I don't know. I know people really like the color schemes, and I talk about them a lot, but I'm proud of this one. I think this really fits Koga's whole aesthetic. I mean, if we slow it down so you can really see the custom back sprite, completely custom made by Blue Zangoose. I mean, just honestly, I mean, this mod is just so impressive. The fact I can have the exact team, no level up, the TM right away, the overworld sprites from Gen 2, and then the custom back sprites. It's just, this is so cool. All right, starting now, we're going to start rapid firing these battles because you know we're going to beat Misty. We're at level 43. And you know that Rival 2 will also be just as easy. Hey, for a little variety versus Rival 3, I use Muck. That's different, but still really easy. Against Surge, though, I went back to Wheezing. That brings me to the first Giovanni battle, and while we have a really bad matchup, they're still remarkably under-leveled. I did try to use some Toxic strats, but honestly, I really feel like that probably wasted more time than it was worth at this point. But hey, just testing things out for later. For those of you who are very new and don't know how Toxic works, in Generation 1, Poison deals 1/16th, not 1/8, 1/16th every turn. Toxic starts with 1/16th, but then goes up to 2/16th, 3/16th, 4/16th, etc. So after 16 turns, it would take out your whole HP bar, although you are likely going to faint well before then. Toxic is very overpowered, but is more useful when you want to kind of take your time and stall, while in these battles I'm so overleveled I don't really need to resort to that at all. I'm still very overleveled for Erika, although Victory Bell does get an annoying hit on me and wastes my time, but otherwise, still, Wheezing is just sweeping everything. As you'd expect, the same is true of Rival 4, and thus ends our I don't need to really talk about these battles, but I'm going to show them a little bit off anyway section of the video. Let's get to the more interesting battles that start in the second half. We weren't able to make very much progress at all with Erika. Maybe Koga will have more luck. First things first, the mirror match. Now, this is going to be really annoying and really tedious. But wait, what's that? J-Rose, you're using an item in battle? An X attack? 2 X attacks? What is this? This is not J-Rose 11? Items in battle? What is going on here? So, I understand that other people have made videos like this. I shouldn't have taken 2 years to release this one. That's my bad. But, I mean, with those 2 X attacks, look at how quickly I knock out everything with Sludge and then use self-destruct. But okay, why did I just use 2? Why do I have 8? Let me explain everything. Actually, I don't need to explain anything. Sean, or Shaman, I don't know who's editing this one, would you kindly show the full explanation of Koga's team? And maybe zoom in on that little itty bitty piece of text. Koga has 2 X attacks. I mean, he uses them 25% of the time, but that's the one advantage I'm going to get. Here's the thing, guys. In theory, I could just use the same Pokemon Koga used and level them up. That's what I did when I did my Bruno video like eons ago, and there's nothing wrong with that. I could teach the Pokemon custom moves. There's a million ways you can do this challenge. I wanted this to be as close to the actual gym leader as possible, just with J-Rose AI, as opposed to bad Gen 1 AI. After consulting with the Council of Elders, aka my chat, who are probably actually, yeah, they are older than me for the most part, we decided that to be as authentic as possible, we were going to use whatever items the gym leader has. And since we know what items they are, we're not going to do it randomly, but just as Koga can use 2 X attacks per Pokemon, I know it's weird that the items work per Pokemon, but hey, I'm bound by the same limitations they are. I can use them. I can choose when to use them, when not to use them. To me, that is part of Koga's toolset. And thus, for a rare time, we're going to be using just those items. No potions though, because Koga doesn't have those. Now, if you're immediately thinking, wow, this is going to certainly make Koga a lot more competitive than I thought, yeah, that's a huge advantage Koga has. And maybe he'll be able to take that advantage all the way to the Hall. Okay, I don't think he'll make the Hall of Fame, but he beat himself pretty easily. Now for a new PB, Rival 5. We get a Sludge and Poison, and sadly, we're not able to knock out Pidgeot, but it misses with Sand Attack, so yay! Then Execute, Sludge knocks it out. Gyarados, I go Sludge, it's poisoned. Leer's gonna boost my attack, so Sludge knocks it out. Unfortunately, Alakazam hits with Confusion, but fortunately, I tank it. I do faint, but I still have Coughing. Oh, I haven't used a Coughing yet. I guess I'll just go Sludge. Oh, wow, Rage. I actually am going to win with Coughing. Wait a minute. Coughing! The first time we've seen one of the 2 Coughings. I have no idea which one this is, but it's the winner Coughing. And a new PB established by Koga. No X attacks needed, by the way. But we may want to use it against Giovanni too. So I have still 6 remaining. That means I'm down 2. Uh-oh, I mean, I can just buy more. But with that, we 2-shot Nidorino, and we 1-shot... No, we don't 1-shot Kangaskhan. And crit, that's annoying. But 2-shot it, and then Rhyhorn's going to be way more than a 2-shot. In fact, Toxic may have been the play here, but thankfully, with a little bit of poison damage and a little bit of sludge damage, we knock it out. And then, self-destruct. It's what Koga always does to me, and now I'm Koga. So, we have made it past Rival 5. That means we can battle Sabrina, we can battle Blaine, and that's it. Those are the last 2 trainers that are major battles that we have to battle. And then we can make it to the 8th gym leader. Oh my goodness. This is good. I try Sabrina first because I'm already here and it makes no difference. And Psybeam crit knocks me out. I think I'm going to need a Psybeam non-critical hit here. Psychic doesn't knock me out. That's fine. We can then Revenge KO. Right now I'm thinking Weezing has to take out at least 2 Pokemon, maybe 3. Here's Psybeam. There's Sludge. We might get Barrier. No, we get Confusion. I'm going to reset. I need this to work. You know what? Maybe I try Muck. Because Weezing has Self-Destruct. So let's lead with Muck. See what happens here. All right. So, all right. What are we going to do? Psybeam. Okay. And now if it goes for like Light Screen. Perfect. Oh, it doesn't one-shot. But double Light Screen. Let's go. It is going to go for Leech Life and knock me out. But I think Weezing, Psybeam sucks, but 2 Sludges. And now if it just goes for like Psywave, we can win. Now, Psybeam. All right. Coughing number 1. Let's go. Go for Sludge. Okay, no. Coughing number 2. I believe in you. Yeah, that belief was misplaced. It's going to take a few attempts, but we are actually going to beat Sabrina. The Muck first strat was the strat. Unfortunately, though, Mr. Mime does tend to knock it out, but then Weezing can tank a Confusion. Venomoth, it's 50-50 Psybeam and Leech Life. As long as we survive, we can theoretically go for Self-Destruct because, oh, all right, well, I was going to say it could go for Reflect, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Oh, we can double Reflect. Let's go. Coughing. Let's go. Okay, that wasn't what I thought would happen. I thought we were going to knock it out anyway. So that went a little differently than I anticipated, but a win is a win is a win. It only took like 4 or 5 battles, I think. So that's pretty good. And if anything, I think Blaine should be easier, even though Blaine's Pokemon are at a higher level. Now, you may have already learnt this from our Erika attempt, but Growlithe actually has to, oops, I meant to go for X attack. It has to go for agility. So we can get our 2 X attacks, and that might help us outspeed and one-shot Ponyta. Rapidash goes for Tail Whip, and that means we both outspeed and one-shot Arcanine with Self-Destruct. Now, I do want to say that yes, the X attacks are boosting my stats, and thus, I believe, do trigger the badge boost glitch. That was not my intent, but it kinda happens. Still, I don't know, it's not my fault the badge boost glitch exists. I'm not trying to do it here, although I will maybe if other Pokemon work for it, but not a lot of gym leader Pokemon can boost their own stats though, so it's not going to be a big factor. Still, that was a very easy battle. But finally, we have Giovanni number 3, better known by nobody as Giovanni. Can we win here? Well, I'm going to go Toxic against the Rhyhorn because I think this is going to take a really long time. And then I'm going to swap in Coughing. Now, I'm actually going to swap in Muck. And what I plan to do here is swap in Weezing. And now what I plan to do here is go for 2 X attacks and try to sweep through as much as possible. Doug Trio goes for Guard Spec, which is really lucky, because if not, it's going to go for Dig. And sadly, I just have to sack Weezing. And looks like Muck. And looks like Coughing. And yeah, that's not going to work. All right, let's try that again. All right, so what do we do here? I think Toxic is right. And then maybe I want to swap. So Muck has 69 defense, 109 defense. Do I want to keep this in? Or maybe, what does Coughing have? Yeah, let's swap in Coughing. And then maybe we go for either Sludge. Wait, it's Guard Spec, so I can't go for Smoke Screen. That's why I just failed. But it's fine. It gets knocked out. Now, yeah, see, I can't go for Smoke Screen because of Guard Spec, which doesn't allow stats to be lowered. What I can do is try to X attack. Ooh, we tank it. And yes! Yes, now we're good. Actually, I should have gone for X attack there, but that's okay. All right, now we're double resisted. That's a problem. What do I do here? All right, I gotta think here. I can X attack one more time. I can self-destruct. I think X attack just makes sense. All right, Guard Spec's fine. And now I think just try to do, all right, you know what? Just self-destruct. All right, now we made it to Nidoking. Muck versus Nidoking. I didn't mean to go for Sludge. I actually should go for, no, that's not good. Coughing, because every thrash... Oh, it doesn't crit. Wait a minute. It didn't guard spec, so I can actually... Oh, well, now it did. I was going to smoke screen. Now it hits itself in confusion. That's actually really good. That's actually really good. Wait a minute. That's really good. And now it's missing with thrash. Oh, it's missed the first time. Oh, I love this glitch. It's going to miss every time with thrash now. But sadly, it stopped thrashing, and it does knock me out. I might be able to get it. I might... Oh, so close. All right, that was cool, but... Still not good enough. You might think Koga's done, but I have a few more tricks up my sleeve. I mean, we're going to go for the same toxic strat as before. I just think it's the best way to take out Rhyhorn. And then I'm going to go into Muck. And what I'm going to do here is something I hate doing, but in a non-solo run, and in a run where I have to use the 4 moves the gym leader uses, you know what? I didn't start with this stat-raising nonsense, but sure as heck, I'm going to take advantage of it. I waited, but now we have all these badge boosts due to minimize, and nothing's going to hit us. It doesn't make Muck invincible, though. It's not like we're doing all that much damage to Nidoqueen, but then again, Nidoqueen can't hurt us. And so we knock it out with Sludge. The big problem with Muck is that it only has Sludge, and we're about to run out. And once we do that, well, then we have to use something else. But, wait a minute, don't poison. No, I should have toxiced that. Okay. I have to now go for... Actually, I can just stall this, but that would be really lengthy. Come on, Weezing. I wish it didn't get poisoned, but self-destruct, no, that was stupid. I hope I don't regret that. Fissure, no, I forgot that can hit me. Oh no. Okay, Fissure can't hit, oh, wait a minute. Fissure can't hit Muck because I outspeed. So, we're good. We're good. Took a really long time, but once again, terrible Gen 1 AI for the win. My win. We have gotten all 8 gym badges, and if that was all we had to do, I would say Koga is a champion. But he's not, because we have to go to the Hall of Fame. And this is the 5th gym leader. That means there's a good chance that we will have 3 more shots at becoming champion. But Koga's been pretty impressive and has a very trolly, annoying moveset. I think there's a chance he can do it, but it's not going to be easy. First up is Rival 6, and for him, I have some tricks. No, but seriously. So Rival 6 has that terrible Gen 1 AI where it's forced to go for the super effective move. That means agility, and that means I can set up all 6 minimize plus 2 X attacks. It still takes 2 sludges to knock out Pidgeot, but hey, I'm at full HP. And then against Rhyhorn, once again, all I can do is use Sludge. Eventually, I do try to kind of stall. Execute, I one-shot. That's not surprising. Gyarados, I actually two-shot, but this is the big one. Alakazam, ooh, I outsped. And critted. And Psybeam missed. And it's a two-shot versus Charizard. Okay, these strats are so cheap. But, hey, that's Koga's team, baby. That's the team. In my defense, my strongest move, other than Self-Destruct, is a base 65 power poison move, and my highest level Pokemon is 43. I don't think I'm exactly dealing with a stacked team, and there's a chance the Elite Four beats me, but there's also a really good chance that the Elite Four has a really tough time. And this is where, if you're new to the video, I feel bad. I don't think I have fully articulated what is going on some of the time. In Gen 1, the so-called good AI, as people refer to it, is just this rudimentary rock, paper, scissors system where certain trainers, the AI has to go for moves classified as super effective if they can. There are mistakes, such as Erika's grass poison Pokemon being considered grass due to a type hierarchy, and it also does not distinguish between status moves and non-status moves. I probably should have made that as abundantly clear as this earlier in the video, but it's become super relevant right now because we're going to take advantage of that immensely versus the Elite Four, starting with Lorelie. Lorelie's first Pokemon is Dugong, and Dugong has a Psychic move, but it is Rest. And it has to spam Rest. Of course, it's at full HP, and thus it doesn't do anything, but its spamming rest is not an auto win for me. Because if I can't do enough damage, I'll just show you right now if I can't, oh, we might, then it's going to wake up and use rest before I'm able to knock it out. Thankfully, with the 2x attacks and the minimizes, I do just enough damage to knock out the dugong. Cloyster, however, is super bulky defensively, and so it takes quite a few hits to knock it out. It does not have a psychic move, but because of those minimizes, we don't get hit. Slowbro does have a psychic move, so we're completely safe as that move is Amnesia. Jinx, we just outspeed it, and then we get what I call the retroactive super potion, because how the heck would Laurely know how much damage I was going to do and what move I would use? It's because the AI selects its move after all that has already happened. But in modern Pokemon, it does not. And then against Lapras, Hydro Pump misses, Confuse Ray misses, and Confuse Ray misses again. Level 39 Muck does a great job. Next up is Bruno. I don't even consider Bruno to be a major battle, but funnily enough, this would be the biggest test I would have. Sadly for Bruno, his Onixes don't know any ground moves, which makes them useless. In addition, once Rage misses once, it actually, as far as I know, can't hit anymore. So I'm able to safely set up all my X attacks, poison it, and then slowly, let's just speed this up, watch its health whittle down to nothing. I also can disable Rage, which is really fun, but yeah. Hitmonchan is going to be a 2-shot, and Counter in this generation only affects normal and fighting moves for some inexplicable reason, so we're good. Hitmonlee, Jump Kick misses. It doesn't do a lot of recoil back, but that's fine. And then Onix, once again, I could theoretically go for... Oh wait, I didn't mean to go for Sludge. No, I meant to go for Toxic. I was going to say I could theoretically poison it, but I wanted this to go quicker. Instead, I swap back in Muck and reset up because we still have Machamp to deal with. Still, with these minimizes, it's just too darn easy. And I actually use other coughing to preserve some power points because there's only so many ethers and elixirs available in the game. And this was a long and tedious battle, but it was a winning battle. Now, these two trainers, I am not shocked how well I did. Agatha, however, is going to be horrendous. All 5 of her Pokemon are poison type, meaning they cannot be poisoned. And Muck only has 20 Sludges, which are going to be double resisted by her Ghost Pokemon. So what I'm going to do here is lead with Coughing and first try to lower their accuracy, because their play is Dream Eater and Hypnosis. We got Hypnosis. Now, oh, there's Nightshade. I'm going to try... Oh, there's Nightshade again. All right, I don't know what to do. I'm going to try to boost Muck as much as possible and see how much damage I do. The answer is more than I thought. I think this is going to be like an 8-hit KO. Unfortunately, it swaps to Golbat, although that's not actually that bad. I mean, it's bad because I'd lowered its accuracy. Now I have to kind of think about this. Do I want to keep Muck in? And the answer is yes. Just keep going for Sludge. And I have one Pokemon down. Now, yeah, see, I didn't fully set up the minimizes. And down goes I. And yeah, now this is going to go exactly how I expected it to go. Although Hypnosis is starting to miss. Wheezing without those minimize additions just doesn't do enough damage to Gengar. Although we come really close to knocking it out. Eventually, we are put to sleep. Dream Eatered, which is both super effective and restores HP. And although we get another swap, we are unable to beat any Ghost Pokemon. And that's one battle lost. And unfortunately, there'd be quite a bit more. You see, as we show you some unsuccessful battles, Agatha is really tough. I don't really have any great moves or strategies. And the Muck cheap strat is really, really bad here. So you might be wondering, how in the world are you going to make it past? And I bet you think the answer is going to be, well, I didn't. But I did start to come up with a semblance of a strategy. Smokescreen, actually, I got a Gen 1 miss here, which is nuts, but trying to get as many smokescreens against the first Gengar is important, but Agatha can swap. Then I go into Wheezing. That's right, Wheezing. I want to knock out this first Gengar with Wheezing because I need to set up against something a little bit easier. And that's not Gengar number 1. With all the smokescreens, I'm able to get it to very low HP with 60 HP for me remaining, and then Gengar swaps. I then start going for Sludge against Golbat, but then it goes for Haze, which is brutal since I can't use any X attacks since I only have 2 per Pokemon. After using a few more Sludges and whittling some health down, Agatha switches back into Golbat. I decide it's time for Self-Destruct, and we each have 1 Pokemon down. Now I have to decide what I want to do, and I go back into Coughing. And once again, ooh, nice Hypnosis miss, but Confuser hits. I'm going for Smokescreen. I'm sticking with that strat. I don't want to set up with Muck just yet, and I'll even do 2 X attacks, because why not, to go for Sludge with Coughing. And unfortunately for me, I get confused once again, but I snap out of it, and I actually knock out Gengar with Coughing. Then Agatha withdraws into Arbok. I could swap here, but what's the point? I'm just going to sacrifice Coughing, try to get as much damage against Arbok as I possibly can, and I get it to about 2/3 HP. Now Coughing number 2 comes out. It gets bitten, and then a swap. So Haunter has 1. Ooh, nice. Hypnosis miss. And this is what I want to set up Minimizes against. This is Agatha's worst Pokemon, and it's already gotten its accuracy lowered. I now have 6 Minimizes, 2 X attacks, and it's do or do not. There is no try. Sadly, I get put to sleep while I'm trying to knock out the Haunter, but I'm then, oh, now I'm confused. And I'm hitting myself in confusion. A lot. But then I'm able to knock out Haunter, and then Arbok only takes 3 more hits. Well, that was before the Super Potion, so it's going to take more. And now I have 11 hits for Gengar. It can't put me to sleep. I don't want to get hit with Nightshade. So far, so good. I keep going for Sludge, and with 2 remaining, I beat Agatha. And I think the truth is, guys, I don't know if we'll beat the champion, but there is a really good chance we're making it to the champion. Because just like with Lauralee, where all her Pokemon have psychic moves and thus can't attack, the same thing is true of Lance. And so, once we get past Gyarados, we can set up pretty well, and the only Pokemon able to hit us, even in theory, will be Aerodactyl. What do I want to do first, though? Do I want to go Coughing? Do I want to go Muck? This is going to be really difficult. I'm going to save because I don't want to do that Agatha battle again. And let's go see what Lance is going to be all about. Hydro Pump knocks out Coughing. I go to the second Coughing. Dragon Rage is fine. 1 Smokescreen. Hydro Pump missed 2 Smokescreens. Leer missed 3 Smokescreens. 4 Smokescreens. Okay. Now Wheezing. I'm going to go Toxic because I'm running out of Sludges. This is an issue. I'm running out of Power Points. And now with Toxic, I'm going to go for 6 Minimize. Actually, Leer hit me. That's not good. But I actually wasn't able to get all 6. But that's okay because Dragonair can't actually hit me. So now the only Pokemon I actually have to worry about is Aerodactyl. This isn't too bad. I need to make sure... Actually, no. I should swap here because I need to make sure I don't waste Power Points, actually. Oh, wait a minute. But now I wasted all those Minimizes. This is actually really not good. Oh, Hyper Potion. But you can see the toxic damage really start to stack. I did this really badly because I need to make sure... You know what? I'm going to reset. I need to make sure I have enough Power Points for the champion. We're going to have to use Toxic on pretty much everything. And the smoke screens on the Gyarados. That's a really good idea. But after that, yeah, we just have to go for Toxic and hope. So we got 4 up in this second battle. And then we go for Toxic. Okay. Now we're going to keep Wheezing in and just go for Smog, which is useless. Now, I think I'm going to go for Muck. And I'm going to set up a Minimize. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it didn't go through because it fainted. Now I can swap to Toxic. And now I can go into Coughing. And I can just use Tackle. It's useless. And this is where the whole battle is. Actually, I can go for Sludge. It doesn't really matter. Now I should swap into Wheezing and... Oh, wait. It's Dragonair number 2. That's right. So let's just speed ahead. It doesn't really matter. I'm just wasting time, wasting time, wasting time. Okay. Aerodactyl. I'm going to go for Smokescreen. Nice. Bite. Crits. Okay. Wheezing. I'm going to go for Toxic. Bite. No crit. And now into Muck. Hyper Beam. Okay, I tank it. And I'm going to go Minimize. Takedown misses, minimize. Bite misses, minimize. Takedown misses, minimize. All right, we're good. We're good. I don't care if Muck faints because now all I got to do is use Toxic and GG. That's the battle. This will take a while if Lance heals, which he doesn't. And we've made it to the champion with Koga's team. Incredible. I have 1 elixir remaining. I think we need to use it on Muck. Or Wheezing. Oh gosh. All right, this is gonna be rough. I don't have a lot of PowerPoint restoring items left. I didn't really anticipate. Usually this is not the big issue, but it has become a bit of an issue. I don't want to redo anything. I need PowerPoints for the champ. The Pidgeot does not have a psychic move, so there's gonna be no AI shenanigans here. I don't know, guys. I don't know how this is gonna go. But there is a chance the 5th gym leader can become champion of Kanto. Will that happen? Let's find out. All right, we're going to do the same thing we've done before. Lead with Coughing and try to go for Smokescreen. Wing Attack does nothing, then it misses. 2 Smokescreens, 3 Smokescreens, 4 Smokescreens, Sky Attack 5 Smokescreens, and all 6 Smokescreens. Now into Muck, and now we got to start minimizing. We're a star now. 2. Sky Attack, please miss, please miss, please miss. Yes, 3. I think this is 4. Oh, no, no, no. Come on, miss, 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 miss. I'm going to go X Attack. And then X Attack. All right, I think I miscounted because that should be all 6. Sludge. Okay, 2 Sludges. 3 Sludges. Excellent. Now we need the miss more than anything. No! Oh, we tanked it! And now it's poisoned. Reflect. Okay, this is fine. Maybe. What do I do here? Just go for Sludge. Horn Drill misses. Should I go for Poison Gas? Should I swap into Wheezing? But I don't know. I wish we had Toxic. I'm going to go Poison Gas. It's going to take a long time. And then I think I'm just going to stall with Disable. Leer is actually the worst thing. Oh no, Fury Attack. No. That was not good. And now I have to just go Smokescreen Coughing, which isn't good. Don't forget, Horn Drill can hit, at least in theory. And the poison takes forever to knock this thing out. We're just going to keep going for Smokescreen, and then we're going to lose. I swap into Wheezing. All I can do here is 2 X attacks, and I don't have a lot of power points left. So I'm going to go for Smog here and slowly let the poison knock out right on. Perfect. Executory outspeed, I go for Sludge. It doesn't one-shot. Hypnosis puts me to sleep, but I wake up, Stomp hits, and then Sludge knocks it out. Gyarados, I'm going to go self-destruct. No! Hyper Beam hits. Of course it hit. Wait a minute, I didn't lower its accuracy. Now I just try for some Smokescreen stuff with Coughing, but I knew the battle was over. I came really close, but first try, not going to be a victory. All right, attempt number 2. Coughing, we're going to go for Smokescreen. Please miss. No, it hits. We still have another Coughing. Yeah, let's go for it. Wing Attack hits. That's 2 Smokescreens. It misses 3 Smokescreens, 4 Smokescreens, 5 Smokescreens, and there's the 6th Smokescreen. Okay, now we're going to go for Muck. We're going to do the same thing. Please miss. I got to go minimize. No, it hits! All right, well, attempt number 3. Let's try it again. All right, Mirror Move is good. 1 Smokescreen, 2 Smokescreens, 3 Smokescreens. All right, come on, Sky Attack, miss. All right, that's all 6. We're into Muck. Let's go minimize here. Perfect. And now we're going to keep minimizing. Sky Attack's the thing we need to miss the most. I lost count. I think we have 1 more. And then, ooh, it went for minimize. That's not good. But we should be fine. We could theoretically miss here. No, we're fine. And now let's go. There's the miss. There's another miss. Come on. There's a 3rd miss. 4th miss. All right. Come on. Fine. Fine. Come on. All right. Reflect isn't crit. No. Ah, of course it hits. Of course it hit. Now it's poisoned. All right, this is fine, actually. 46 is doable. I wish there was a way to poison Rhydon. Like, toxic poison it. But we're going to just have to sit here and hope. Ooh, we disabled Fury Attack. Disable is random in Generation 1. That is the best thing to disable. Well, I have nothing to say, guys. We're just going to speed through and hope Rhydon doesn't use Fury Attack or any move that hits. Don't forget, the 1-hit KO moves can't hit. And wouldn't you know, it doesn't in 16 turns. Executor, we poison it, Hypnosis misses, and new PB to Gyarados with Muck. We get a crit and a poison. It's missing, and we are all the way to Charizard. We have 4 sludges left. 1 miss. 2 miss. 3 victory. Muck with Minimize proved to be too much for the Elite Four and champion. Koga, the 5th gym leader, will now be champion, explaining why in the next game he was promoted to Elite Four member. This seems to be lore accurate, as coughing, wheezing, coughing, and Muck, with 4 hours and 55 minutes, not that we're really keeping track of time, Koga is the champion of Kanto. And there are still 3 more gym leaders to go. First up, we have the 6th gym leader, Sabrina. Going into this challenge, she was the gym leader I had the highest hopes for because psychic Pokemon are incredibly overpowered in Generation 1. I would know, that's why my mascot is Kadabra. Actually, I don't know if it's from Stadium 1 or Stadium 2, but the point still stands. Very, very good. Like Koga, Sabrina has 4 Pokemon, but for the first time, we get a Pokemon of a different type. We get a Bug Poison in Venomoth, which gives us not just a little bit of move diversity in Leech Life, but some type diversity. Although, other than Mr. Mime's Double Slap, all our other damaging moves are Psychic type. Thankfully, there are no Dark Pokemon, otherwise this would be very, 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 very bad. But I should note that since Psychic is the 3rd move Alakazam would have at level 43, it has been replaced with Psywave, which is very good for me 99% of the time when I have to face Sabrina, but bad for me this now 1% of the time where I am Sabrina. Finally, I should mention that Sabrina has a really cool thing about her that I think will really help. She has 1 Hyper Potion per Pokemon. We can heal! It's not quite as good as if it was an X Special, but pretty good. Pretty good. But is it good enough to beat the game? Well, in the interest of time, while I will still show them to you here in the background whilst I talk, for a very long time, especially considering we just beat the game with Koga, similar leveled Pokemon, but arguably worse ones, it is unsurprising that at least until we get to Rival Fivel, there isn't really any degree of question. Not only will we win, but we're going to win without losing a single Pokemon. This, of course, also includes Koga, since although our levels are practically identical, we have the type advantage being Psychic type, even though I'm using Kadabra and thus have a bit of a level disadvantage. That brings us to Rival Fivel, where I will lead with Alakazam. I just go for Psybeam. Wing Attack does quite a bit, but that's okay. Execute is Psychic type, but still 2-shot. Gyarados, ooh, Bite almost knocks me out. Don't forget, just normal move, but Second Bite does. What am I going to use? I actually haven't lost a Pokemon up to this point. I'm going to go into Kadabra and just go for Psybeam is fine. And then I'm going to go for Psychic. There is a 33% chance I lower Special, which happens on the second one. Thankfully, it starts spamming Disable as opposed to Recover, and Kadabra should make it past Charizard really easily. Why Charizard, by the way, did I give the rival? Well, I couldn't give the rival Bulbasaur. That feels like it'd be super unfair. I always try to give the rival the best Pokemon possible. I hope that won't be something that's super important. That will completely change the run, but it is something I've always done. Anyway, we battle Giovanni number 2. Except for Kangaskhan and Rhyhorn, everything is a poison type, so 2 of the Pokemon. And I actually don't one-shot Nidoqueen, which is a bad sign. But, still easy victory. Now it's time for the mirror match. I'm going to go Alakazam v Kadabra. Psywave may be better. Psywave is so weird. we'll talk about what it does in just a second. I knock out Kadabra. Actually, maybe we'll have to talk about it right now. Psywave does a minimum of 1 damage and up to 1.5 times the level of my Pokemon, which is Alakazam, which I think because it rounds down is 64. So that's what it can do. It deals neutral damage, so it's not affected by type matchups, but it is only 80% accurate, making it awful. And I probably should have just stuck to Psybeam, which I will against Venomoth, and I still don't actually knock it out, although I may have had my special drop now that I think about it. I then go Mirror Match, Venomoth v Venomoth, and Alakazam quickly knocks me out. So I have Kadabra and Mr. Mime. Kadabra, I'm going to try to go for Psychic and lower its special. And fun fact, because Sabrina has good AI, she is now stuck using either Psywave. Wait, no, she can't use Psywave because it's classified as a Psychic move. So she's stuck using Recover ad infinitum. And something you may or may not know is opponents don't have power points. Now oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is, actually, I could confuse. Yeah, I think I have to confuse the Alakazam now at this point. I might want to reset. I may want to reset. I'm kind of stuck in a bit of an infinite loop. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think I'd win that with struggle, but that was awful. That was truly, truly, truly awful. Okay, so this time around, let's do anything different. Psywave knocks out Kadabra. Then we miss with Psywave, double slap. I should probably go for Recover here. I mean, I have it. Why am I not using it? Anyway, for whatever reason, I don't. I do knock out Mr. Mime with 2 Psybeams and a Psywave, then Psybeam on Venomoth, and then I go Psywave, it goes for Recover, and yeah, we're going to get that infinite loop going. Looks like it. So I'm going to swap into Kadabra, try to get a few more special drops. This time, I managed to get them, and thus I can swap into Alakazam, start going for Psybeam, and slowly but surely beating Sabrina. The fact she beat me 1 time is incredible, and shows the difference between being an AI character and a human one, but still not difficult, just weird. Alright, 2 gym leaders left. Blaine. Growlithe versus Alakazam. Growlithe can now do anything, because I'm not poison type anymore. So, what am I gonna do? Let's just go for Psybeam. It goes Super Potion, and we knock it out. Ponyta, Psybeam crits, and then Psybeam crits again. Fire Spin's annoying, but not the end of the world. Oh, the Super Potion made things a little more annoying. And then Psybeam, Super Potion, Takedown, but that's going to deal enough recoil damage back that I can knock it out with another Psybeam. Alakazam, Sweep, very good. 3 Giovanni should be quite a bit easier for Sabrina. I'm going to go Psybeam. Ooh, nice. Psybeam knocks it out, and then Psybeam, it goes Sand Attack and misses. Psybeam knocks it out. Psybeam on Nidoqueen. Psybeam knocks it out. Psybeam on Nidoking. Crit knocks it out. And then Psybeam, crit. Psybeam knocks it out. Didn't even lose any HP. Easy. But now is where I think things are going to get quite a bit tougher. The levels start to increase. The Psychic Pokemon frequency starts to increase. This is where we truly get to see whether Sabrina can measure up to the final trainers. I worry about her being a little underleveled, and additionally, without the X attacks, / in this case X specials, or toxic smokescreen / minimize, my options are a lot more limited if I encounter resistance. Hopefully I just don't. Alright, so let's just go Psybeam right away. I could go Reflect here, but because Pidgeot got a crit, wouldn't have mattered anyway, so we're good. Now I'm going to go Recover. Horn Drill misses. I am going to go Reflect because Rhyhorn can't do as much damage. Ooh, I should have gone for Recover there. And I will now. And we can knock out Rhyhorn with a second Psybeam. Now, Psybeam, ooh, Poison Powder, that's not good. I'm going to go Venomoth here because Leech Life is double super effective. And yeah, Execute has to go for Solar Beam. That works. Gyarados is out now. I'm going to go for Stun Spore and Paralyze it. And what do I swap into? Yeah, let's go Mr. Mime. It's pretty useless. Haven't really used it much yet because it just has Confusion, so not much I can do, but maybe I can knock it out. Nah, only 77 HP, 2 Dragon Rages were all it took. All right, now I'm going to go Psybeam. It went Leer, Psybeam, And, oh god, Psywave. Oh, right. This time it has to go for Psybeam. For whatever reason, this Alakazam is programmed a little differently and will actually go for moves. I don't understand why Sabrina's doesn't. But anyway, Psywave knocks it out, but then Charizard slashes me, and I think things are bad. But then we see Rage, the special falls. I go for Recover. Actually, I don't think I can out-recover this. No, I can't. I just gotta go for Psychic and hope and win! Yeah, that special drop was clutch. And Rage almost knocked me out, which would have been very embarrassing. I'm just gonna fly back, but that takes me to the Elite Four. Honestly, other than the champion, I really think we have this despite our levels. And in order to show you why, let's just battle Lorelie. All right, so against Lorelie, I'm going to lead with Kadabra this time and try to get a special drop. Nice takedown miss, and then Growl, and then I'm going to use Psybeam to preserve power points. Then I get a beautiful crit, but Clamp hits, and it only hits twice. Cloyster is really bad special, so I knock it out quickly. Now, out comes Slowbro, and recall from Koga, if I swap in a poison Pokemon, it has to go for Amnesia. I couldn't do this for Dugong because it would just keep going for Rest, and it would become a loop that I would actually lose. But for Slowbro, between Leech Life and Poison Powder, I can slowly but surely knock out the Slowbro. Jinx does not have a psychic move of any kind, and I actually get the Stun Spore on it, which is crazy. It does knock me out, and I swap into Alakazam. Now I have to go for annoying Psywave, and once it goes for Thrash, I set up both Reflect, and eventually I start healing, which should make this a pretty bad crit, but pretty guaranteed victory. Eventually, I get frustrated, and not only do I not heal, but I go Psywave and knock it out, and then keep hitting A bunch of times and Psywave Lapras, which was a massive mistake. Thankfully, I'm able to get... Oh, no special drop. No, I just cost myself the victory. Great. I can't believe I just did that. Well, that's irritating. Although, truth be told, I don't know if I'd use Psybeam if we'd won anyway, but much higher chance. If I'd recovered, we probably would have had a much better chance too. That was a little arrogant. Now, it actually took me quite a few attempts to win, and that's mostly because Dugong could be really annoying here, and then Cloyster, I needed quite a bit of good RNG until I got to Slowbro. Once we got there, we knew Venomoth was going to make it to Jinx, and the goal was to just paralyze Jinx, just to maybe buy another attack, and then swap into Alakazam and Reflect, and then try to both Psywave and Recover, so I have full HP for Lapras. That's really the idea. And even that doesn't guarantee anything because Lapras is unbelievably bulky. So if I go for Psybeam, you can see I do very little, and I get the 10% chance that it will confuse, which is nuts. Lapras then paralyzes me, but I do so much damage to it. You'd think Kadabra could just KO it with Psychic, but fun fact, no. And then we get Super Potion, and fun fact, no, we don't do enough even after the Super Potion, but Mr. Mime outspeeds and wins with confusion. Didn't see that coming, did you guys? Because I sure as heck didn't. The only time I think Mr. Mime is going to be useful, it is a completely useless Pokemon, but hey, win is a win. And we haven't even used the Hyper Potions yet, by the way. All right, speeding ahead, Bruno is going to be pretty easy. Psybeam one-shots Onix, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, the second Onix, although the crit may have mattered, and it doesn't one-shot Machamp, but who cares? Yawn. Now we've made it to Agatha, and since they're all poison Pokemon, we have a good matchup, but they also have very high special. Hypnosis misses, we get another Clutch Confusion, but the problem is Psybeam is only doing just about a third. Then we get a swap to Golbat, which is great because Golbat's not going to be able to attack me. We knock it out immediately. Another Hypnosis missed, another Confused, and it hit itself in confusion. Sick. Then we outspeed Haunter. It goes for Dream Eater. We knock it out. Arbok, we don't one-shot, but it goes for Screech. And with 3 Psybeams remaining, we're confused, but we get a crit. We're toxic. Come on. And we knock out Gengar. That was a clean sweep. And as long as we can get by both Gyarados and Aerodactyl, we have made it. Oh my god, I only have 1 full restore. Oh, that would have been bad. We have made it to the champion. So I probably need to use Alakazam here. Venomoth can beat the other 3 with slow Poison Powder strats. Let's do this. Gyarados v Alakazam. Psybeam. Leer. Okay, that did like nothing. Psybeam. Hyper Beam. Yikes. Okay, and it's going to get to attack again because Gen 1. Hydro Pump. Yikes. Okay. Leer. Confusion. If I confuse it, yeah, yikes. Okay, so yeah, attempt number 1 was, best way to put that, awful. Awful. What do we do here? Yikes. Okay, Psybeam, Hyper Beam. Yeah, that won't work. Okay, you know, maybe I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. Let's go Hydro Pump. No, that knocks out Mr. Mime. I was going to go Barrier strats. The potions aren't going to help me here. No, can't go Venomoth first. I can try Kadabra, but yeah, wow. I didn't see this being as bad as it is. Dragon Rage, Psychic, and then Hyper Beam. Oh god. So let's Ether Psychic. Yeah, I think we want Kadabra, and then if we can get a Psychic drop, like a special drop, maybe this will work. You know what? Did not anticipate how difficult this would be. Okay, we got Leer Miss and the special drop from Psychic. It went fast, but I promise you it happened. Hyper Beam is bad, but fine. Now I go Psybeam, Leer, Psybeam, Hyper Potion. Psybeam, Hydro Pump, Psybeam. It's confused. Wow. Okay, I'm getting really lucky on those. Am I sure it's just 10% in this generation? I actually just looked it up. Yep, always been 10%. Anyway, now that Dragonair is here, I can swap into Venomoth. You may be wondering, why does Dragonair not attack the Alakazam? Because Gen 1, like I said earlier with the retroactive potions, doesn't work like that, because that would make sense. Instead, it just attacks based on what you do. So because I swapped in Venomoth, it doesn't select moves like a normal player would. It just determines after you go what it should do. So that's annoying, but we're going to knock out both Dragonair, and slowly, very slowly. But we do that, and now Aerodactyl is here. I have to say Venomoth, so Mr. Mime, ooh, nice takedown, miss. Mr. Mime, thank you for your service. Takedown recoil is the best you get. Alakazam, help me out. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know how I thought that was going to go any differently. Yep, takedown. Okay. Wow. Okay. Is Lance going to just really beat me? I think he might. What do I even do? I had told my Twitch chat, I streamed this last year on Twitch, that I was done, that I was doing a few more attempts and that was it, because I had no idea how to get past Aerodactyl. There just didn't seem to be any way. I could get by the Gyarados, not consistently, but every 5 or 6 attempts. And then we have to speed through this because it takes like 5 ever. But I could use Venomoth to knock out the Dragonair. But then in came Aerodactyl. So the strategy I had in my mind, which was risky as heck, was to hope Aerodactyl missed, like with Supersonic, and then paralyze it. Then I swapped to Mr. Mime. Actually, it missed again. I decided to go for Barrier, thinking I would tank its attack, and what happened was even crazier. It didn't attack due to paralysis. Then it hit me with Bite and crit it, so my chance of badge boosting went out the window. But I got a Psychic hit, takedown then missed. I got another Psychic hit and special fell, and that's a win. That's a win. It's going to take a very, very long time, and especially if Lance uses Hyper Potions, it's going to take a long time. But that is all the Elite Four defeated, but we still have to beat the champion. We've done well so far. We are insanely underleveled, And there's really no weird manipulation strategies I can use either. It's just going to be that our team can beat the champion or something that I don't expect is going to wall us. Considering how much trouble we had against Lance's Gyarados, it could be that. But I have a feeling it might be something else. Let's see. First things first, we have a level 61 Pidgeot. Wing attack does about half, and Psybeam doesn't do all that much. I can go for Reflect, and yeah, Pidgeot can just crit. So now I'm stuck with a Kadabra that's basically half this Pidgeot's level, and of course I get a Gen 1 miss with Psybeam. So our first attempt didn't go really well. Now, I do have one Ether remaining, a Max Ether, but that'll only heal the PP of one move, and I need it for Kadabra's Psychic. We're at 5 hours, so this has taken longer than Koga, which is a bad sign, but a win will be a win. We need to get by Pidgeot first, so this time it goes for Mirror Move, I go for Reflect. It's outspeeding me, by the way. Whirlwind, nice crit by my Psybeam, and then another Whirlwind, and then Mirror Move Psybeam. I don't get confused. Okay, this is about as good luck as we could possibly get. Now, Alakazam comes out. It goes for Psybeam. I go for Psywave. And it goes for Recover. I go for Recover. The problem with this mirror match is that its Alakazam does have Psychic, and I don't. And what that means is that eventually it's going to lower my special and win. I could try, yep, there it is, and oh, it crits. So that is a matchup I was worried about. Now, theoretically, Kadabra can do the same thing. The issue is, well, I'm 21 levels lower. And although the Kadabra was doing a really good job, I was running out of Psychic. Actually, it's doing a really good job. And we actually are going to make it to Rhydon. But how much further could we conceivably make it? We can knock out Rhydon. That's pretty good. And this is the Pokemon I was worried about. Executor. What do we do here? Psychic, Stomp. So that's a one-shot. Now, in theory, I could go Stun Spore, and then Leech Life is double super effective, right? Nice with the crit, but then it puts me to sleep. Why? Because of good AI. It has to do that. It has to put me to sleep. And once you're asleep, you're pretty much done. Mr. Mime? Yeah. Good luck with Mr. Mime. I can triple Badge Boost with Barrier, and the truth is, I actually... Oh, wow, I can do this. And then let's Double Slap. But, alright, this is fine. Let's go Double Slap, hurt itself in Confusion, Double Slap. Well, this is perfect. Look at me. I can beat this thing, right? Well, I mean, not really, because it just doesn't do enough damage and I lose. Truth is, I should have Hyper Potion there. I wouldn't have won anyway, because we weren't going to beat Gyarados with the Mr. Mime, but I probably could have made it past Executor. So that's looking pretty good, right? Cue a very mini montage, because as you're going to see, getting past Pidgeot with all my Pokemon was difficult. And when you get by Pidgeot, getting by Alakazam with Alakazam is difficult. And since it's my highest level Pokemon, I really need it. In the battle you're watching right now, I was able to get past Alakazam and make it to Rhydon. So I'm able to recover, Horn Drill, I can go for Psybeam. I've already reflected, and Reflect in this game is permanent but for one Pokemon. But this is where I don't know what to do. Because what can I do, right? Like, Psybeam does so little, and even with Reflect, I'm just so weak. What can I really do? I could have used the Hyper Potion here. I understand that, right? But it's just one Hyper Potion. I still have to actually do damage. If I could use infinite Hyper Potions, yes, we would have this. But one Hyper Potion per Pokemon simply isn't enough to beat an Executor that's at level 61. It took me about probably 10 to 12 battles just to get to Executor with Alakazam. And then the best I could hope to do is try to confuse it, try to out-recover Barrage getting unlucky, but then it just goes for Stomp, and then what? Stomp does more than half my HP, so using potions, again, it's just one potion, which I didn't even bother doing because what does it matter? I'm not going to be able to stall it. It would just buy me one turn. It doesn't positively advance the game state. Now, in theory, I could maybe get Kadabra to lower its special that wouldn't even matter because the final Pokemon, Venomoth, is a physical attacker, at least versus Executor. And here is the thing that actually is even more important. There are still 2 more Pokemon remaining that aren't weak by any means. Sure, we got one where maybe Mr. Mime, if I'd played things a little smarter because of the barriers, could have made it to Gyarados, but there was no way we were beating Charizard. Well, we weren't beating Gyarados either, but we weren't beating Charizard. I had been at this battle for 20 minutes. I had made it to Executor 3 times, and I had not gotten close. By the rules I had set out when I started this was not could I brute force things with a ton of luck. It's whether this was reasonable, because again, with Gen 1 misses, there are some pretty crazy outcomes that can occur once in like a million times. But in my opinion, Sabrina cannot reasonably beat the Elite Four. This was the first time in the challenge a previous gym leader had done better than the later gym leader, but a bit of an asterisk because the ace Pokemon are the same level, and it does feel like you can complete them in any order, even though Sabrina requires you to beat Sylph Company, which is actually pretty difficult. Alrighty, that means there are 2 gym leaders left. So far we have 1 champion. Will Blaine or Giovanni be able to beat the final trainer and become champ? Well, let's talk about Blaine. In some ways, Blaine is better than Sabrina. He has a level 47 Arcanine, a very high base stat, powerful Pokemon. The lowest Pokemon is Ponyta, and 2 level 42s. The problem is they're really terrible moves. We have literally just fire and normal, and most of the Pokemon have awful versions like Stomp and Fire Spin. The only Pokemon with decent moves is Arcanine, and that's 2 of them in Fire Blast and Takedown. The only one that can badge boost is Growlithe, whose best moves are Ember and Takedown. Don't forget, Takedown has a whopping 15% chance to miss for 90 base power. It is only slightly stronger than Body Slam, a move you get pretty much immediately, and you can miss, and a quarter of the damage you deal gets dealt back to you. Still, as you would imagine, the early game is a complete joke because we are horrendously over-leveled. I'm not sure if we got a montage the first time, but if Shaman was able to do that, I now figured out Shaman was editing the video. That's how long it's taken for me to make this video. I found an editor for it. Thanks, Shaman. Sorry, but yeah, if not, you're seeing consecutive clips of me beating really easy gym leaders that Blaine has no business losing to. All right, picking things back up with Rival Fivel. This one is going to be a little bit more complicated. Pidgeot's not going to be too big of a problem. We can just go for Fire Blast and, oh, we don't knock it out, but Ember will finish it off. Then we can take down Growlithe, and we can probably Ember, oh, we can't, but Hypnosis misses. So that's good. Alakazam takedown still one-shots, but now we got Blastoise. Now this battle isn't so bad, albeit the crit, wow, that does suck, but it's not so bad because the Blastoise in this battle is stuck with Water Gun and Bubble, but later battles, we're actually going to have to worry about Hydro Pump. Not Surf, thankfully. So there's always a chance for a miss, but yeah, that's going to be a problem. Geo 2 also is where things are a little interesting, right? Because the first 2 Pokemon are easy, and then actually Rhyhorn was pretty easy, but Nidoqueen is where, see, we run out of Fire Blasts, and although for now Nidoqueen has such bad moves, we're fine. You can start to see where Blaine is really going to have problems if, I mean, Fire Blast can miss 15% of the time. So if things don't line up exactly, it's going to be really bad, and things won't always line up exactly. I probably should have included Sabrina in the montage because this is going to be pretty easy. I go Takedown on Kadabra, it one-shots, and Mr. Mime at one-shots. Venomoth actually meant to go for Ember, and I accidentally went for Takedown. But it wasn't a problem because we just got a crit against Alakazam, and although I lost most of my HP to recoil damage, we still won. We still swept. Also, my bit of forgetting Erika, which isn't a bit, I just forget to battle her all the time. I forgot her this time, that's why she wasn't in the montage. And you can see Ember doesn't even knock out her grass Pokemon. It wasn't like I was going to lose, but not great signs. Now, we're going to face ourselves, Blaine, in a mirror match. This too I'm not worried about, because actually, we miss, and then get hit with Leer. Wow, we're missing a lot. Okay, we knock out Growlithe, and that Leer might actually help us gain a little bit of attack. Oh, Growl's going to take that away. I probably want to swap, but yeah, no, I'll just go for it, because then we can switch to Stomp. Nah, I should swap here. It goes for Takedown. I'm going to go for... Ooh, I could go for Tail Whip. Yeah, I probably should have. All right, Growlithe, come here. I think we're going to want to go for Leer. Or, yeah, let's go for Leer. Okay, it goes for Takedown. And now we can either knock it out with Arcanine or Ponyta. Take your pick. It goes Roar, we go Stomp. It goes Roar, we go Stomp. It goes Takedown. And, I mean, technically Ponyta got the knockout, I guess. So, yay, Ponyta! Although, really, it just knocked itself out. But yay, Ponyta! Alright, well, we have an interesting matchup against 3 Giovanni. I try for Fire Blast against Rhyhorn, but we miss. It misses too. Then we hit, it does half, it hits us with Tail Whip. I then go for Ember, it hits us with Fury Attack, and knock it out with Ember. Dugtrio, I try to go for Takedown and one-shot it. Thankfully, it does, and I'm at 98 HP. Fire Blast burns Nidoqueen, and thankfully, it doesn't paralyze me with Body Slam. And because it was burned, it does so little damage, and I can then knock it out with Ember plus Burn. So lots of good things happening there. Fire Blast, I need to go for Fire Blast plus Ember, and then Nidoking should have knocked me out, but Arcanine, so tanky, survives on 3 HP. Then I go for my final Fire Blast versus Rhydon. It doesn't knock it out, but recall, Rhydon has to go for Fissure, so I just go Ember, 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 and while this wasn't pretty, it once again was an Arcanine sweep. But I have a feeling those are coming to an end. Rival 6 does tend to be where the game gets pretty difficult, and after him, we have Lorelie. And so that's going to be super fun for lil ol' me. See, that's why I call her Lorelie, guys. It rhymes with something I've only said once, literally in my entire life. Anyway, Rival 6! So, Pidgeot, we're at the same level. Fire Blast, Agility, Quick Attack, Fire Blast. But we only have 3 left. Fire Blast crits, that's excellent. So that's 2 down. Growlithe, I'm going to go for Takedown. It's going to be a 2-shot. Leer is actually fine. So I go Ember, it goes Takedown and knocks itself out, but I'm at 58 HP. Execute, I go Ember, Stun Spore misses, thank goodness. We knock it out with 2. Alakazam, I go Takedown, of course it misses, but I survive, but I'm confused, but I hit through the confusion, but I knock myself out due to recoil. All right, come on, Rapidash, finish things off. Psybeam, I'm confused. No, how does this keep happening? Well, I guess it was happening when I was Sabrina, but this isn't Sabrina. And then Alakazam just makes quick work of Ponyta and Growlithe. Well, actually, Growlithe knocked itself out. Yay! All right, so that didn't go super well. Let's try that again. We're going to go Fire Blast. Whirlwind is fine. Ember. Ooh, nice. And, okay, very good, Pidgeot. Who needs to attack me? We're at full HP for Rhyhorn. Fire Blast, another crit. Wow, this couldn't be going any better. Takedown, Potion. I'll go another Takedown. It misses. Leer is fine. Another Takedown. 112 to execute. I'm going to go Fire Blast. Avoid the Stun Spore. Great. Now, please hit. Please hit. Please hit. Nice. And then Psychic, we tank it. And we're at 9 HP for Blastoise. I'm going to go for Takedown and miss, and Hydro Pump knocks me out. Okay. Growlithe, I need you to go for Leer, but Hydro Pump knocks me out. Okay, Rapidash, I need you to go for Fire Spin. So, Fire Spin misses 30% of the time, but in theory, I could just trap Blastoise. Of course, that's not what happens. And it Hydro Pumps the rest of my team into oblivion. So this isn't looking really good. Do I have a way to beat Rival 6? Or is this where Blaine is stopped? Once again, I was at a point where I was starting to think, I probably should give up. This has taken way too many attempts. But I'm stubborn. And I just really wanted to see if I could make it to Elite Four. Because you believe, if you can just make it past this one obstacle, maybe, just maybe, you can win. Well, we get similar luck to what you've seen before. This time, Pidgeot hits us twice. We get the crit against Rhyhorn again. And against Growlithe, it takes 2 hits, but Growlithe doesn't hit me. So we're at 99 HP for Execute. This time against Execute, just like last time, I go for Fire Blast. And then Alakazam, it goes for Recover. Now, why is it outspeeding me? Because I was hit with Leer before. My speed is lower. And actually, it seems like it's a speed tie, and I get a knockout. So that was really lucky. I'm at a nice amount of HP for Blastoise. This time, I hit and crit, and then it goes for Withdraw, because Withdraw is also classified as a water move. Hydro Pump, though, is a 50-50 chance. Well, actually, it's slightly worse than that because it could miss. So I go for Leer, but it goes for Withdraw, meaning my Leers are useless. But what do I even really do? Just hope for a crit with Takedown? Didn't really work. Withdraw doesn't do damage, but it's the worst thing that could happen. Now I have to pray for a critical hit, or that Fire Spin doesn't miss. Of course, it does on the second try, but so does Hydro Pump. It then misses on the third try, but so does Withdraw do nothing. It can last between 2 to 5 turns, and in theory, like I said, I could just trap Blastoise here the whole time, especially if I get a crit. Well, speaking of crits, when I got close, I decided to go for Stomp, and I won. But I'll tell you the truth, I was stone-faced. I didn't really celebrate. I didn't really care, because based on how difficult that was, I knew we lost. I knew that this run was dead. If we couldn't beat Rival 6 without some crazy Fire Spin luck, how in the world were we going to get past Lance's Gyarados? Well, I have good news for you. That ended up being far less a problem than I anticipated. And you want to know why that is? Because I couldn't beat Lorelie. I mean, this shouldn't surprise you. Lorelie is ostensibly a second water gym. Sure, the ice typing on some of her Pokemon helps, but they all can just stall me or destroy me depending on which one we're talking about. Other than Dugong and Jinx, they have water moves, even if they're not very strong. And as you've seen in this run to this point, although we can get some pretty niche and cool strats with Rapidash, the only Pokemon that actually does any major lifting is Arcanine. And against Slowbro, we really have nothing useful. With some really great luck, I could make it 2 Jinx, but even when Arcanine didn't faint, making it past Jinx, don't forget in this generation, ice is neutral to fire. There is nothing I can do. And for the record, Lapras would have lapped the floor with us. That kind of worked. But yeah, we don't have to worry about Gyarados if we can't even make it past Lorelie. The increased level for Blaine's Pokemon is great, but them being kind of terrible with awful movesets made him even worse to use than Koga and Sabrina. That makes me a little worried for Giovanni, because although Giovanni has amazing Pokemon, they for the most part have horrendous movesets. I mean, let's just take a very close look, because there are 5 Pokemon. The first time we have 5 Pokemon. Rhyhorn is level 45, that's great, but Stomp is pretty much the only usable move. Dugtrio is great, unfortunately it's our lowest level Pokemon, and Dig is base 100. The Nidos have either Thrash or Body Slam, but otherwise nothing really usable. And Rhydon gets Fissure and Horn Drill, which against stronger opponents is useless because I get outsped. So I have 2 Pokemon that basically have Stomp, one that is Dig. Our type diversity is either Poison Sting, 1 ground move, and normal moves. It is absolutely terrible. It makes you long for the Giovanni of Yellow version. I actually wonder how different this would be in Yellow, because while my teams would be better, so would my opponents, but that's for future Gyarados, maybe. Okay, so you've been seeing a bunch of battles. I just want to highlight a few that I think are interesting. Rival Fivel is the first time I battled Blastoise, and you'll see that for the most part, may have noticed I like to use Nidoking. So Nidoking has Thrash, and that makes it really just quick to knock things out. but this is now getting to the point where it's just not knocking things out as quickly as I like it to. And unfortunately, like against Execute, the weakness of my team really shines through. Now, thankfully, I have enough really good Pokemon that I can even outspeed, for now, Alakazam. But as you'll see, I actually could have reasonably lost to Blastoise. The only reason I didn't was because Blastoise has Bubble and Water Gun, and I was able to have Nidoqueen survive with just enough HP that even after 2 paralyses, it was able to win, but just barely, and that's Rival Fivel. Sabrina also was oddly annoying because, you see, with Dugtrio, when you use Dig, there are more chances for a Pokemon to use Barrier or Reflect, which didn't happen, thankfully. However, Venomoth did go for Stun Spore, and it paralyzed me, which was awful, because now I can't outspeed Alakazam, who did go for Reflect, and I should have just gone for Slash. I don't know why I didn't, and by the time I did, Alakazam had started spamming Recover. So now I have a reflected Alakazam with not some great Pokemon to fight it with. Nidoking and Nidoqueen, oh, well, I just got a crit there. They're weak to Psychic, and while I didn't have nearly as much trouble with Sabrina as I did with Rival Fivel, you can also see some issues here. Now, Blaine was a joke. I mean, you would expect that to be the case, and it was. But I don't one-shot Arcanine, and this is notable. In fact, I don't even one-shot him after I get Slash, and remember, all the way back with Victory Bell, Slash will always crit. Also, it's kind of funny how he turns away from me. I don't want to look at you, Giovanni. What are you doing here? You may also notice as I get ready for the mirror match that I can either have my Flying HM user, which also has Cut, or my Surf and Strength HM user. This is what I'd been doing where I had Lapras and Ducks. I would catch a Spearow and make the trade in Vermilion. These were really good for HMs. It's nice that they can each learn 2, but when you have 5 Pokemon, you can only use 1 at a time. So I had to keep swapping between them. It was annoying. All right, so for the mirror match, obviously I went Dugtrio v Rhyhorn, and it doesn't one-shot, but that's okay. Now Dugtrio v Dugtrio, and the problem is... Oh, that was a Gen 1 miss, actually. But the problem is I need to be careful because Dugtrio... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay, I'm going to have to talk about what happened after the battle because just a lot's going to... Wow, there's a lot there. But anyway, we are able to eventually knock out the Dugtrio with Nidoqueen, and she is so bulky, and my moves are so bad that I can use her to knock out the remaining 3 Pokemon. I am not kidding, although I start getting kind of annoyed at how long it's taking and swap into Rhydon for what I think is the very first time, or the second time. Okay, so in terms of what happened with Dugtrio, what happened was, because of just some weird interactions, I usually would outspeed in the mirror match. It's not important why that is, but just know it happens, and it's unavoidable. I don't know why I kept going for Dig, but I figured, okay, if I go for Dig and I'm faster and it goes for Dig, it's the one that hits, I don't, so I'll stall. But in this game and in this game only... Wait, is that true? Pretty sure that's true. I don't use enough items, but I'm pretty sure you can't use items on a Pokemon that is in the semi-invulnerable turn of Fly and Dig. So that is what happened. It was irritating, and it delayed the Dig enough to knock out my Dugtrio. But now, Dugtrio would actually be kind of useless, so I need a different Pokemon to take on Pidgeot. It's only taken us 3 hours to get here, but after the debacle with Blaine, me being Blaine, not the battle Giovanni had against Blaine, I'm a little worried. Alright, so because Pidgeot is immune to Dig, I gotta stick with Rhydon. Rhydon, I go for Stomp, and Pidgeot actually has to go for Agility, because even though it's not super effective, it's the only move that's not very effective. So, yay. Next is the Rhyhorn, and we go for Horn Drill. In this game, it's just straight 30% if it's able to hit, which it is if you outspeed. Now I go for Stomp against Growlithe and Stomp and knock it out, and then Execute, I go for Stomp, and then Flinches and Stomp. That's a double crit, which is nuts. Reflect, Stomp, Psychic, Special Fell, Stomp, Psybeam. All right, well, that wasn't too bad. Dugtrio, come on. Ooh, Recover, it outspeeds, but I'm getting the crit, and then Reflect, nice. But now Blastoise. All right, we're gonna go for Slash. It crits, and that's why I went for Slash. I could Sand Attack. Look at that. Hydro Pump misses. And then Sand Attack again on Withdraw. And now I'm going to go Dig. No, that was dumb. I should just go Slash. I was hoping for a crit because we do have really good base speed, but Blastoise isn't attacking us. And hey, look at that. All right. Well, that was easier than I thought, but we're not done yet. Can Ground type Giovanni beat Water Trainer sort of Lorelie? If no, that would mean only Sabrina and Koga make it to the champion, and only Koga could become champion. Again, explaining why he's in Elite Four in Gen 2. But Giovanni, we don't really know what he did. Maybe he retired after beating the whole Pokemon League. Let's see. Alrighty. For Lorelie, I lead with Dugtrio, and I can go for Dig, and it crits, but Dugong, unfortunately, is so bulky, it just doesn't matter. It will go for Rest randomly on turn 2 because Dugong has special AI, and we actually get a Gen 1 miss from Aurora Beam, and that is the only reason we're even able to knock it out. Cloyster goes for Clamp, and at this point, what do we even do? Clamp is super effective, our moves are physical moves, and Cloyster is one of the bulkiest physically defensive Pokemon in Pokemon, but especially in Gen 1. Nidoqueen paralyzes it and does a good job, but this is not looking good, guys. This is not looking good at all. We have a bunch of physical moves that aren't super effective against a trainer that is perfectly suited for this. I try Nidoking on Battle 2, but we get the same problem with Dugong. At least it's going for Rest as opposed to just Aurora Beam, but even with some crits, wow, it loves going for Rest. Oh, wait a minute, I'm Nidoking, no wonder it's going for Rest. I'm Poison type, oopsies. But I just lost Nidoking and Dugong's at full health. I just don't see this working. Battle number 3, and nope, that's not gonna work. Battle number 4, and that's not gonna work. Battle number 5, and Dugtrio leads. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Battle number 6, yeah, that's not gonna work. Battle number 7, we have Nidoking. Oh yay, we finally made it past Dugong. And Cloyster is probably gonna sweep my team. Looking like it's gonna sweep my team. Yeah, it swept my team. So, yeah. Bit of an anticlimactic end to one of my favorite challenges I've ever done. I would be really interested to see how this would go in yellow, but it might go even worse because, again, every other team would be so good. In the end, the ranking of the gym leaders, objectively, quote unquote, goes Koga, Sabrina, and then I would say Blaine, Giovanni, Erika, Misty, Surge, and Brock. Surge is the second worst, but considering the level of his Pokemon, that's pretty bad. It's really cool one of the gym leaders under these really ridiculous conditions could even become champion. With this strict of a rule set, I don't know if it's possible in any other game. I would sincerely doubt it, sticking with the exact same moveset and levels of the original teams. But maybe I'll try it again. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I will have another one out very shortly. Once again, a big thank you to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this video. Remember, you can use the promo code VENOMFREE to unlock Venom, and if you want the game, of course, you can click the link in the description or scan the QR code to get it for free on your device. Take care, everyone.